client success interview with my client, Tim. First of all, what we do is get you to do an introduction, Tim, name, who you are, what you do, and then we'll roll in. So over to you, Tim.
Good afternoon. So I'm Tim. My role and my background is I'm currently working as an R&D manager at a small investment firm, spend my time working with startups and inventors, trying to commercialize their products, trying to get a return on investment with that. My background is in chemistry and analytical chemistry. So I spent years and years working in laboratories, which is fun and games.
Awesome. By the way, I started rewatching Breaking Bad. If we're talking about chemistry, that's another conversation. So what we do is Tim's literally right at the end of the 12-week program. So we're going to talk about his experience. We'll kick off with, first of all, where were you before we started? What was going on for you? And what was it that made you want to reach out to him?
So I spent quite a lot of time over the last few years sort of piling on the pounds. I think it happens to quite a few of us. You hit a certain stage in your life and there's work pressures and you haven't got the time to concentrate on the things for yourself. You don't exercise as much and you start eating trash and you're snacking at your desk and it all piles on. And weight was, I wouldn't say ballooning, but when you look at it from when I was in my 20s through to my late 30s, it had ballooned up to massively amounts. And I'd spent a fair amount of time from probably mid-30s trying to work on it. I need to just improve my nutrition. I need to cut out the snacks, and you can make something work for a period of time. I've been through a few diet programs on that and never managed to make anything stick. You get weight down for a bit and then it comes back with a bang. And so I got to that point where enough was enough and it was time to stick my hand up and ask for help. It's one of those things where in business and in certain situations, we're never afraid to say, I can't do this, I need help. But when it comes to health and fitness, there's an absolute fear of asking somebody for help. But why shouldn't you go to a coach? Why shouldn't you go and find a mentor? Why can't you find someone who understands the process and has been through it and understands what needs to be done and go and ask them for help? And so that's when I came across Michael, gave him a shout and said, what does your program look like? And talk through, Michael taught me through exactly how your program looks over the 12 weeks and that you focus on, a number of pillars. And we're working through a bit on nutrition, a bit on movement. And then we start building on top of that every week, just building a little bit more, build a community with other guys going through the same thing. So that's one of the nice things that I've been introduced to, is that little support group of people doing the same thing. And all this was explained up front and it sounded good, so I went for it.
Nice. And so if we take you back to before you started, like say you tried a few things, not quite got to the place where you wanted to get to. Do you know how you felt during that time? Obviously committing. I think we've talked so much about consistency, maybe not having that consistency, right? Do you remember how that felt, not quite getting there?
Yeah, I wouldn't quite go as far as saying it's depressing, because you can understand it, but so many of the sort of the programs and the diets out there are a one size fits all. And for so many people that are in my situation, there is no one size fits all to your day. Or you're all over the place. So some days you're in the office and working, some days you're at home, some days you're traveling on the road all day, you've got days and weeks away, you might be on international travel, you might be on national travel. You don't have a lot of say in where you're going to end up on any given day. So actually being able to deliver a one size fits all program onto a lifestyle like that is impossible. And so it just always falls over at some point, and then every time it falls over, it becomes so difficult to pick up on it again.
And I imagine as well, because there's a bit of frustration, isn't there? If you obviously you go into something, I guess if it's a new diet plan or something else, you think that's going to be the answer, right? It's going to be the result. So I guess when you don't quite get that, I guess there must be a bit of frustration as well, because it's the thing you thought this was going to be the one, right?
Yeah. There's always that bit of frustration, but sometimes that's balanced a bit as well. Of you're sometimes frustrated with the program once you start it, because they can be very restrictive, and they can also be quite complicated in terms of how things are counted. So every good diet is going to at some point ask you to monitor and measure what you're doing, but they have their own little rules to make it complicated and brand it, and that actually is sometimes more complicated than just having a look at what you eat and counting the macronutrients in it.
I think as well, like with the fitness industry, I'm part of it. It's very black and white. You have to go to the gym for 5 hours. You have to have a certain diet, and of course, people are selling that, right? It can be quite generic. So I guess what worked well for you then, that you had freedom in terms in my program for it to be specific more to you and your needs. And how'd that feel for you? How do you find that working for you, Tim?
It's been working really well. So the way it's worked has been on a weekly basis, just adding something that's needed, and it's quite a simple thing. So we have these conversations. So every single week we're meeting and discussing about how the week's gone and where the wins have been, and then it's okay. Well, these are the things that are not working. So this is what we can do this week to work on it. And it's usually just one thing that's very simple. So, when we look at the early weeks, it was make sure you drink, keep a track of how much you're drinking during the day without even setting too much of a target on it. It was just a case of just keep an eye on how much you're drinking. It'll be nice if you can get to this sort of number, but don't worry about it. Just track it. And you find by tracking how much you're drinking, you start drinking a bit more. Another week, it was, get off your ass and just walk around for a bit.
Yeah.
Nothing long, nothing much, no targets on that. Get up and move, and you just find yourself doing 5-10 minutes of walking, and it's there. And then all of a sudden it's, well, okay, this week we're gonna every day do some push-ups, and the next week it's gonna be every day. Here's a gym routine. Try and do that 3 times a week. If you do 2, it's fine. If you do 4, great, but target 3. Hold your hands up if you've not done it, and move on to the next week. And every time these are being added in, you're not dropping the bits that have gone before it. So it's just building and building and building. And before you know it, 12 weeks was gone, and you're looking back and going, oh, Jesus, there's a huge difference in the amount of exercise I'm doing, in the quality of the food I'm eating. An absolute transformation, but it's been done because it's been building around my life. It's not been a case of, here's what you need to do, go away and do it. It's been that conversational, and it's been tailored, and it's been trial and error. So some things haven't quite worked. I've tried a few exercises and they just don't work around the lifestyle, and so they've just dropped off the radar. Maybe struggled a little bit with some of the food things, because all of a sudden you've got to travel and you've got to go out for dinner, and so they don't necessarily work out. But overall, it's been, because it's been building little bit, and it's been building around what's working for me, dropping the things that aren't working, adding on to the things that are working. It just fits nicely around the lifestyle.
I think what you touched on there is important as well. Like, there is an element of trial and error, because there has to be, because you're completely different to every other client I work with. So what's going to work for you won't work for someone else. So when it comes to, like, look at the nutrition, look at the exercise, maybe stuff around the mindset, it has to be like, do you know what? I'm going to go out this week, try it. And if it doesn't work, maybe look at why, and is there a different strategy, right? So how did that like feel for you, where it was, do you know what? I'm going to try some things. If it don't work, we look at a different plan, and it evolved moving forwards with you. How did you find that?
Yeah, well, I think it can, well, you certainly know, from when I started the program, I found it was almost a bit of a struggle at first. I didn't fully engage with everything because I was trying things and wasn't necessarily, you're not feeling much. And okay, Christmas was in around that time as well. But then all of a sudden you started to hit on a few things that were working. And there's this, throughout the program, this constant reinforcement of the good things? What are your wins? What are you doing well? What's going great? And that reinforcement keeps coming through. And we've probably hit a point maybe 4 weeks into the program where everything suddenly clicked. And, all the dominoes started falling from that point. Once you kind of got it, it was dum, 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 dum. And everything just fitted nicely. And the progress from then on was fantastic. But it was building, maybe I didn't appreciate it at the time, but it was starting to build that consistency early on of just keep doing it. When you're winning on this, you're kind of going, well, I've not lost any weight. I don't feel that much better, but I've got up and I've walked 3 times every day. And suddenly you're getting a pat on the back. Oh, well done. That's real progress. You're moving forward.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah, great. So you do it the next day and the next day and the next day. And all of a sudden that's, I can walk for 30, 40 minutes at a fast pace without getting out of breath. That's pretty good going. Then suddenly you find yourself running up the stairs. Then you suddenly find yourself at the gym doing strenuous workouts. Then you find yourself being able to pick up on a huge number of push-ups. It is very much that domino effect from those little things building on top of each other. And suddenly, you kind of appreciate everything that's going on. Suddenly
you're in the gym Saturday mornings, right?
Yeah, I never would have thought I'd be in a gym on a Saturday morning. It was this Saturday I was up at, I think it was something like 6 a.m. and in the gym on a Saturday. Crazy. Most people that know me would never have expected that. That's not the old Tim. I'd have been lying in bed with a hangover on a Saturday morning, not at the gym.
Yeah, and what's I know obviously you shared some wins in the Facebook group, but one of them that really stuck out for me, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, that your daughter said to you, like, Daddy seems a lot happier, right? How does that feel when you get feedback like that, from the most important people in your life?
Yeah, well, that's a really important part of it, because you're not just doing it for yourself, are you? You're doing it for those around you. You're doing it for your family to improve your relationships. I think there's a lot of knock-on effect from physical health to mental health to relationships, because if you are strong and fit, everything becomes so much easier to do. If things are easier to do, you generally feel a bit happier. And then that just knocks off onto all your relationships, because you're a much more positive person. If everything is effort, when you get to that point where it's taken effort to just move around because you're so unfit, you'll do a few little tasks around the house and you'll be worn out. And because you're worn out, if you've then suddenly got children going, oh, Daddy, I want you to do this. Daddy, can you do this? You say, oh, no, I really can't. I'm knackered. I need to sit down. I need to sleep, sit on the sofa, and then you have a glass of wine and a snack. Whereas actually, when you're feeling fit and healthy, and you've done all those jobs around the house, and then someone comes across and says, Daddy, can we do this? Well, yeah, I've got plenty of spare energy for that. So let's get on and do it. And it's that knock-on effect to those relationships, which is, it's just the real win.
Yeah, I wanted to share that win because I think that's, I'm sure you came into the program at the beginning because, you want to lose weight and you want to feel better, right? That's the main reason. Energy levels, like, they're the main sort of things. But I think when it's your family and the people around you that notice, and I call that like the ripple effect, it ripples outwards, right? The positivity and the energy, like those wins are the ones that, I don't know, probably like feel bigger than just, well, I've lost a stone, right?
Yeah, they're rather than just being the numbers, they're the people side of it, the reality of it. You lose a stone, you're a bit fitter, you can run longer, you can do all these sort of things, you can lift more. That's all well and good, and they're important to measure, but it is, how do people perceive you? How are you relating to those people? How do you make them feel with the way that you are? Which is important, and that's what we're trying to achieve. That's the person that you're becoming, rather than just the measures that are showing your progress on that journey.
Yeah, nice. And is there anything that, I think what can hold people back, maybe, especially from doing maybe this program or anything, is that maybe it won't work, or it might be overwhelming, and what if I can't do it? Did you have any reservations as you come into it?
There was a little bit. I had some big reservations because, as I said, I had tried a few things in the past and they've fallen over because it's not fitted around, I'm not able to fit it within my lifestyle. So it drops away a little bit. So there's that concern that, especially when you start talking about it as a program and ways of working and the principles of it, and you start thinking, oh great, so I'm just going to go along and it's going to be on week 1 you do this, on week 2 you do this, on week 3 you do this, and then all of a sudden you're going to find yourself in week 3 and something's going to kick off at work and you have to be somewhere at the drop of a hat and it's all going to fall away and you just can't do it. And if you've not done week 3, can you do week 4? But within a couple of weeks, you realize that that's not how this works. It's not about a program. So that was my real concern, was I'm going into a program with a set way of working and I'd fall over because it doesn't fit to me, which is what's happened in the past. And that's what your mind tells you of, well, I've tried it before, it's not worked. But this, call it a program, but it's not a program. It's a personal relationship with somebody who can help you find the things that will work for you personally, alongside a group of people who are going to help and support you and celebrate your wins and make you feel good about your progress.
Yeah, nice. And touching on that, because obviously, there's loads of things people can do, right? There's loads of things, loads of programs, loads of diets, lots of things. So how did you find it being with a group of like-minded men, like who do guide you, who do support you, share your wins? How did you find that, Tim?
Obviously, that's supportive because you're talking to people who understand. They know exactly what you're going through. They've been through it themselves, or they're going through it themselves, or if they're joining the program later than you, they're at an earlier stage and you're supporting them. And it's that collaborative approach, which is, you kind of get to the fundamentals of being a person, aren't you? We're social animals. Yeah. So if you can create your own little tribe of people doing the same things, it strengthens and reinforces and means that you move forward at a quicker pace.
Yeah, nice. And that's what I wanted to build, a couple of years ago. I wanted that tribe, that community, that sort of, I remember one of my clients saying it's like a band of brothers. I wanted to create that. And obviously I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like, is that one of, for you, the I guess the best aspects about the program? I know you said it's not a program, but you've got to call it something, right?
Yeah.
Was that for you one of like the best things for you, like going through it with the other guys, or?
It's certainly up there amongst the best things because it's good to have a community of people, and I'm one of those people that I like meeting new people anyway and finding out about their stories. And it is an important part because so much of health and well-being is quite intensely personal.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to share. So having a group of people where you can share and can discuss is absolutely essential. You wouldn't go to a dinner party normally and start talking about what you're not happy with your fitness and your health, because either you're going to sound like some sort of weird narcissist or
yeah.
So having a group of people where you can have that conversation it's really important to moving forward. I think the program, using that phrase again, would fall over if it wasn't for those people.
Yeah, and it's like I said to you on the first call, and I've said to everyone knows this, everyone that I work with, I would go for a beer with. Like, that's a genuine thing in my head. I'm like, would I go for a beer? Would they fit in the group? And I think that helps to make it work well, right? They're all good guys. So I always think it's important to look at what you've got going forwards, right? Because there's no point just doing this for 12 weeks and then you finish week 12 and it's all out the window. Like, so now you're at the end, right? Like, do you feel like you've got everything you need? Do you feel like you've got a toolkit for not only, just more than anything, having continued success, keep stepping up? Do you feel like you got that, Tim?
Yeah, there's definitely the toolkit. I mean, I'm not coming out from 12 weeks of doing this and saying I'm finished. It's not a case of, 12 weeks, body transformation, done and dusted, walk away. It's been magic. It is hard work, and certain things of it will take a lot of time to see those results. It takes months and months and months to build strength, increase flexibility, reduce weight. But what I do have is, number one, is I've got a series of exercises, techniques, gym routines, which I can apply. I know what I'm doing. And some of those are daily things. So they're very easy to keep up. First thing in the morning, you do X, Y, Z, boom, done, finished. Then you have your shower and get on with your day. So that's an important part of the toolkit. And then there's just little bits and pieces that you kind of pick up and maybe then drop when you don't need them in your back pocket, around tracking your diet, tracking your food, which I don't necessarily need to do all the time, but I know I've got them in my back pocket now. I know how to do it. So if I go on a all-inclusive holiday and go on a bit of a bender and come home and I've put on half a stone, I've got that toolkit, rather than going, oh, great, that's a problem. It's a case, okay, right, okay, I need to do this, and I'll have it under control again within a few weeks, which is a really important part of the toolkit, because health and fitness, it's a journey, isn't it? It's not it's not the goal in itself. That's just has to be a part of life. So having all those tools, having all those resources available is essential to keep it going.
Yeah, nice. And you embraced, obviously there's a couple of challenges, right, in the program, different things, the press ups. What about cold showers? You embraced the cold showers, right?
Oh, cold showers, yeah. I do it every day now. It's which, well, I say every day. If I end up with an afternoon or evening workout, I could then have a hot shower in the evening, but a morning shower is always cold now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't quite go as far as say as enjoy it, but I enjoy it when you turn it off and get out.
But that's important though, because these are the things that I think that really do give you the shifts in mindset. You can always do the things that are quite comfortable and easy, and they do stack up a little bit, but it's the ones where you do something that is uncomfortable every day. They're the things that really give you the shifts. They're the things that really strengthen that mindset, and that's what's important going forward. So again, if we looked at the mindset, do you feel like your mindset is in a much better place now than week one or pre-week one?
Yeah, I mean, the mindset shift has been absolutely massive. We've touched on it a little bit of, going back that time, I wouldn't be the sort of person who would be in a gym on a Saturday morning. Yeah. Whereas now, you look at it from where then to now, and it's completely different. If I am that sort of person who would be there and is enjoying it, and those shifts have come through small steps. It's not been a case of some big lever which has been switched on the mindset. It has been those little things. So do the things every day that are a little bit difficult, build that consistency, and over a period of time you start to see those results. And as you start to see those results, it starts reinforcing that you're doing the right things. Tracking those results on a regular basis and seeing the improvements, it's been a godsend to that mindset change.
And in terms of doing some things that maybe, again, people come in and they think they've got to do lots of things they don't want to do. Was there anything that you've done that you didn't that you didn't necessarily expect, or you expected to do, like in the gym, like all the time from day one, or eating a diet you don't enjoy? Was there any stuff that you come in and think, oh, I've got to do that, but I actually haven't?
Yeah, there's a couple of things on that. Obviously, I've already mentioned the fact that we've been building it around sort of the plan has been built around me, about what works for me. But my mindset coming in was, it's going to be, here's the plan, so go away and do it. You kind of expect to be told, this is how many calories you can eat a day, this is the amount of protein you've got to eat a day, these are the exercises I want you to do, go away and do it. And there's been none of that at all. There's been some challenges, like you say, there's the cold shower thing, there's do some push-ups, but it was never been and this is what you're going to end up doing forever. It's always just been a case of give it a go, give it a try. If it ain't working, we'll find something else. And that's the way that challenge has been worked through the program. It's always been a case of give it a go, try it, stick at it for a couple of weeks. And then if it's not working, we'll find something else. And that's worked a bit of support. So one of the things I really struggled with, and anyone knows me will know that I would struggle with it, is cutting the amount of food I eat, because I think I have a great relationship with food. Food loves me and I love food. So actually trying to cut food to lose weight is a real challenge for me, because I do just like to eat. It's my top thing in life is being able to eat. And so I resisted everything around tracking, and it was put a few times of, you need to cut calories, you need to cut down what you're eating.
Is it a few weeks when it's in?
Yeah, a few weeks of that conversation of just try it. Yeah, okay, I'll try it next week. Have you done it? No, I've not done it again. But it's never, wasn't ever beaten to me as you must do it, you must do it, you must do it. It was just a case of, please just give it a go and see how you get on. We'll make it easy for you. These are the apps you can use. This is what everyone else is doing with it. Just try it for a week and see what happens. And then that week when I finally did try it, probably saw the largest weight losses for anywhere.
3.5 pounds on it, I think.
Yeah, just like that. And what I found with it was that actually I wasn't adjusting my food that much. I wasn't left hungry. I probably was just cutting out a few snacks, because you suddenly start that process of, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it properly. So I'll count everything. So you start that habit of, when you're cooking something and you have a little taste, or when the kids leave something and you're like, just off the plate. Those sort of little things, when you're suddenly like, oh God, I don't know how much that is. I better weigh it. It stops it.
Yeah.
So it was only those things that were probably being cut out of my diet. Everything else was exactly the same. And then all of a sudden the weight starts coming off, and you're not feeling hungry, and you're not having any problems with anything, because you're still eating and eating well.
Did you ever feel like you were on a diet?
No, not once. I've never, because that probably goes back to the early stages of the program as well, where probably spent a lot of time in the early days did a little bit on movement and a little bit on nutrition. So we spent a bit of time just looking at what I was eating for lunch, especially because home cooked dinner's already been pretty good. But lunchtime I could be buying trash from the supermarket or a takeaway or something to get me through. So actually a little bit of focus on nutritional benefits there, to have, focus on things like protein and fiber, which are then going to keep you full for longer. And as you kept saying, always look for getting a bang for your buck. So if you can get high protein, you're going to be, high protein, low carb is generally going to be reasonably low calorie for what you're getting. So focus on those things. Meant you're getting big platefuls of food, so you're not feeling hungry. And so it didn't really feel like a diet. And then it transitioned. So like, okay, you've concentrated on what you're eating. Now you need to concentrate on how much you're eating. And so it just became the natural transition, rather than being that enforced, these are the things you're allowed to eat, these are the amounts you're allowed to eat of it. So it was good, not a diet at all. You can't call it a
diet.
Not
bad, right? Not feeling like you're on a diet.
Yeah, which I'm not. It's not a diet. I can go out and eat what I want. I need to go out and meet with some colleagues or some partners, and we go out for lunch. I don't have to worry about what's on there. Sometimes I just take a quick snapshot of the menu with the calorie count on it, so I can log it later on. If you're over on that day because you've gone out and it was a big slap up 2,000 calorie meal, well, as long as you can balance that over 3-4 days, you're probably okay.
And that's that control as well, right? Like you said about going away on holiday, you're not going to come back and go, oh no, like I can't get myself back on track, or you have a night out. It's fine, because you just adjust before, on the day, or afterwards, which is, I think, is really important. All right, so in terms of there'll probably be some people that have been connected with me for a while and they're on the fence. Obviously they maybe had reservations like you did. Everyone does, right? We all have these barriers or these things that hold us back. But what would you say to someone that's been maybe following my stuff for a while, they're on the fence? What do you say to those guys?
Number one is there is no risk in asking for help. You know, that first phone call, there's absolutely zero risk. Have a chat, find out some information, get a bit of idea of what it's going to be like. Just have a phone call, have a conversation. It's a zero risk, high reward strategy. Costs you nothing at that stage. So why not do it? Pick up the phone, call Michael, have a chat.
And going back to how I guess pleased you are with making that step, because it is a bit of a leap, right? You're going to do something new. There's an investment. You know, you're putting your time into it, skin in the game. How pleased are you now that you did? Because you could have said no, right? You know, you have a choice. Yeah. Like, how pleased that you made the jump?
I'm over the moon. I don't think, I've been on diets where I've lost weight quicker, but then not stayed off. I've tried various routines in the gym before, which, you come away more worn out every time, but you can't stick at them. Everything we've done, because of the way it's worked, is all things which are easy to stick with because it's been built around my life. Therefore, I'm completely overjoyed. I know I can stick with it. I know I can keep it going. I know I can keep losing weight until I get to where I want. I know I'll keep building strength and flexibility. I know that in 12 months' time, I'll be a very different person. And I know that in 18 months' time, I'll still be progressing because I've come away with something from doing this, which is valuable to achieving things in the long term. It's not a short-term investment. It's not 12 weeks. It's the rest of your life, and it's the first 12 weeks of the rest of your life.
Yeah, nice. I think that's a great way of looking at it as well, because I think people do think about just 12 weeks, and it's not. It is 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Hopefully, like you said, the rest of your life. Last thing, is there anything that I haven't asked you or that we haven't got covered? Because I've been on the other end of this, by the way, and I've been in coaching programs, and I feel like there's maybe some things that I'd want to add. Is there anything we haven't covered or that you'd like to add, Tim?
No, I don't think there is. I think we've been over everything. Yeah, all I can really say is that I'm really appreciative of your coaching efforts. You're a great coach and a great mentor. You're able to really understand what, I hate that phrase, but you understand what people like me are trying to achieve. And therefore you're able to adapt your style around what's needed. And I can see that when we're on the calls on the week-to-week basis. It's the way you talk to the other guys on the call is a little bit different when you talk to everybody. The way you motivate, the way you reflect on their weeks is slightly different. And that's maybe something we've not touched on in the conversation, is why it's working with you. And that's because you're a great coach and you're able to adapt your style and you're able to work with a wide range of different people.
Yeah, that's honestly, from my perspective, Tim, it's great to hear. And we're not good at taking compliments, are we? But I'll take it and say thank you very much, because it is something you work on. I was probably a rubbish coach day one, right? I like to think I'm a little bit better now, so appreciate that. And for my thoughts, just to wrap up, is you've stepped up to the mark, right? That's what I said on the first initial call we had, the onboarding call. Hopefully I'll give you the tools, I'll show you the path, but if you've got to step up, right? So you have accepted responsibility. You've gone in and embraced the challenges, right? And you're reaping the rewards. So fair play to you, Tim, because you've come in and you've smashed it, really. You're a completely different person to 12 weeks ago, and hopefully all you'll do now is continue on that journey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Look, guys, so that's it from me and Tim today. Hopefully, if you've listened to this, you've got yourselves a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of motivation, and any questions, any feedback, post in the comments. Once again, Tim, thank you very much for jumping on, and speak soon. Cheers, dude.
Speak soon.
Cheers, guys.